The Drug Enforcement Administration says New York City and our suburbs are facing a heroin epidemic. Law enforcement is seeing record overdoses and a sharp rise in a street heroin mixed with chemicals so powerful a minuscule amount can be deadly.
Here in New York, overdoses soaring.
Last year we had approximately 1,200 overdoses. Now if you look at that versus our homicide rate, it's 335. It's almost 4 times as much. So we're very concerned about it.
Hunt says people are getting addicted because they start with prescription drugs and move to heroin because it's cheaper.
80% of new heroin users started with prescription drugs, prescription opiates specifically, Percocet, Vicodin.
I believe that gateway drugs, such as marijuana, has ties to people becoming heroin and addicts of more serious drugs. I think that people get stuck at get stuck with the feeling of being high and coming down and and the sickness that you get from not being high and your body becoming dependent on the feeling. So I think that when students and people various ages, I think that when they become around drugs, they become more exposed to drugs that aren't as serious and make them feel good for this certain amount of time or this little period of time, what they call their high. I think that when it becomes not enough, that people change the route and go to more serious things like heroin.
I do believe the use of gateway drugs leads you to use heavier drugs because you start off using a gateway drug like marijuana and you enjoy the high, but then you become like parallel to it and you want to continue getting high, so you start doing like prescription drugs like Percocet, and then that's not enough for you, so people started to use like hard drugs like heroin to get the high that they needed.
Yes, I do think that using gateway drugs can impact one's choice into later deciding to use heroin. Once you start using lower level drugs, you become aware of the sensations that it can give you, so you start to want to do harder drugs. Through the experience of a family member, I know that even just smoking as little as marijuana, it can definitely impact your decisions. When I was younger in high school, different organizations would come in and talk to us about how to prevent people from doing drugs and just basically the basics of it and how it can affect you. So yeah, cut out the soda.
I have been peer pressured in my surroundings to do drugs, but because of the knowledge that I do have, I have not succumbed to the peer pressure and used drugs.
Recently, I lost a family member to, this heroin epidemic. It didn't affect me, directly. It didn't harm me, but it really is a lot on your family members to see, someone so young in your family die from something so serious. And it sucks because it's something that you can't ignore, and a lot of people do, and that's how, problems like this happen.
I have been personally affected by heroin use because one of my loved ones was a user, and he committed suicide from it, and it hurt everybody around him, and you could just see the horrible effects that it does have on people's lives and their loved ones.
Yes, my cousin was addicted to heroin, and we didn't really know it at first, but once we saw that it was affecting him and his life on a day-to-day basis, we kind of took initiative and saw that it really does affect a person very severely.
I think the only way to, raise the amount of awareness that's necessary is, going out and talking about it, understanding, listening to people who have experiences like myself, understanding what it's like to lose someone or what it's like to know someone that is addicted to this drug, that they cannot be saved. I think that, just understanding that we can't neglect this problem and understanding that this is really killing our people, of all ages, and taking away fathers from their homes and mothers from their families, and jail time and death is just something that you can't reverse.
I think the best way to prevent other people from using is to provide treatment options that allow people to feel comfortable, to seek help, to get over their addiction, and to become okay with themselves.
Basically just having organizations or just people who've been through the situations of drugs come into high schools or even elementary schools, as younger students can learn how these drugs affect people.